What's happening, YouTube? It's Simon466cards, and today we're going to talk about my DMs getting really weird. I know some interactions that you might have with people on the internet over cards can be a little bit strange and weird, but for me, this one takes the cake. So let me know if you've gotten DMs like this or have another weird story, or perhaps have even dealt with this person I'm about to show you. I'm not going to show you their names, but if you've dealt with this person, you'll remember it and you'll see what I mean. So just to take a step back, the card you see on the screen, a 2007 Topps Chrome X-Fractor out of 50 BGS 9.5 Kobe Bryant card, I sold at the Sport Card Expo in Toronto at the trade night to Roth Cards, who is a hobby personality, influencer, whatever you want to call him, both on Instagram and on YouTube. And so he posted it to his Instagram stories. I got a few followers, and then I added it to my story, and so it got a few views, right? And so that happens. And that was on a Friday night. And on Saturday, things started getting weird. So you can see here, I got this message on Saturday. He quotes my story, this person, and says, "Hey boss, how you doing? Still buying it right now, or RN right now?" First things first, I didn't buy anything. I sold Roth Cards a card. I didn't buy the card. I sold him the card. So right off the bat, he has no idea what actually happened. So I say, maybe, but I'm very picky. Which stuff you mainly LF? Just keep this in mind. Which stuff you mainly LF? Obviously looking for is what he's saying here. And so I say, rarish basketball, Jokic, Embiid, Paolo in particular, and I enjoy flawless championship tech. So this is pretty straightforward what I'm saying here, right? So he responds, "Just a disclaimer though, I'm just doing commission sales for my guy." And that's totally fine. And my response is, "I know, I've dealt with you before on Facebook. I remember you. You don't remember me, but I remember you, and you are all going to see why in just a little second here." So we move on. So he says, "Oh, you dealt with me before. So you're Sir Carlos and Sir Kevin's friend?" And I'm like, "You're asking me if I know a guy named Kevin? Who are you talking about? I don't know who that is." So I'm like, "I don't know. Who are you referring to with that last name?" He's like, "Carlos Diego," which is Slugger 55, and Kevin Day. And so I say, "I've talked to Carlos a couple times. That's about it. I don't know Kevin." And he's like, "Yeah, for sure. They're busy, same as you, doing deals at the expo." Don't assume, man. I made one deal. It was to Roth Cards. It's the one on my Instagram. I did no other deals. I just like looking at cool cards. I like window shopping. Don't assume that I'm also there to make deals. Just because I made a deal with a flipper and a YouTube personality doesn't mean I'm just buying left, right, and center. But, you do you. So then he gives me, you can see here, this is from my Instagram messages, but because I did the screenshots off of my laptop, they don't look quite the same. I don't know why. It's weird. Anyways, so he sends me a bunch of cards. This is one of them. But there were a bunch. But a bunch of them were flawless Paolo Banchero rookie cards, which, again, that's what I asked for. That's great. So he says, "Let me know what you're most interested in." He really likes the acronyms. Okay, we'll keep going. So I say, "I'm not interested at those prices." Some of the cards have prices, some don't. The Paolo ones generally do, although this one you can see here does not. And so their pricing, I said, "I'm not interested." What percentage do you buy? And so this is a couple of months after Flawless came out. So if you know me, I don't buy things right after they come out because those prices will go down. And that's what I tell them. First of all, I'm not a flipper. What percentage do you buy? That's a flipper thing. I'm not a flipper. Keep in mind that I'm saying this. And I say, like I just said, these prices will go down over the next 6 months since the product just got released. Okay, not the Jokic. So there's a couple of Jokic cards in here that do not have are not from that year's Flawless. And he's like, "Well, the Jokic isn't going to go down because he just got released." Well, first of all, you didn't put a price on the Jokic card. So I'm only talking about the cards with a price on it because you're asking about what percentages and whatever. And so he gives me numbers in this white gray box here, and I said, "I'm going to pass. I'm not interested." "Where you want to be at? Give me numbers." Again, I just don't want those cards. I'm not a flipper, man. "Well, what card in particular are you looking for?" And then he quotes my message where I say rarish, Jokic, Embiid, Paolo, flawless stuff. "You give me names, but I don't know what collection pieces you're looking for." I never said there were collection pieces. You reached out to me. You started this whole conversation. Like, I didn't say that this was a thing that existed. I'm just giving you the best information I got. I don't know every single card that exists in the whole world for Jokic and or Paolo or other things that might be out there that I might be interested. I'm just giving you general themes because that's the best information I can give you, man. So I tell them there aren't specific cards I'm looking for. There might be some I like, some I don't. Don't know until I see them, because if it's a cool looking card that I don't know about, I might be interested, but until I see it, I don't know, man. Like, I'm not a flipper. Like, what the hell? So he keeps going, you're looking for other players. So this is what gets me. You're looking for other players. So I've already specifically said Jokic, Embiid, Paolo. Do you think there's like a mysterious fourth or fifth player that I just, for jokes, decided not to tell you and keep secret to myself? Like, no, man. No, I gave you a list for a reason. There's not a secret second list. So we keep going. He sends some other cards because I took the screenshot from my laptop, but they're more Paolo flawless cards. And he's like, let me know what you're most interested. And I said, these are going to be more expensive than what I'm willing to pay. So what do you want to be at? 80%, 85%? Again, very flipperish. And I tell him, again, I haven't even bothered looking up comps because these are more flawless Paolo cards, and that's more of the expensive than I'm willing to pay. And then I quote that message where I explain to him when product is released, prices come down in the first 3 to 6 months. So I tell him, if your owner sells these cards in 3 to 6 months or 3 months, let me know. But I'm not buying them now because they just came out. They're just going to go down. And so he says, for sure, we'll let you know. Although you're a businessman and in your perspective, you need liquid stuff, which doesn't need to be expensive. I'm a businessman? When did this happen? You keep on assuming that, again, I did a deal with Roth Cards, that I'm a flipper, that I'm one of these guys that goes around and does deals. I'm not. It just so happened I sold him a card, and that's it. And so I tell him, again, for the second time, I'm not looking for liquid stuff. I'm not a flipper. Like, good God, man. So then he sends me Ant-Man stuff. Again, rarish, but I say, and he says, let me know what you're most interested in. And I say, I'm not interested in those cards. And he goes, which stuff you mainly LF? Again, which stuff you mainly looking for? Which he asked earlier. And at this point, I should pause and let you know that I was so confused and annoyed and frustrated by these messages that I showed them all to my wife to get a second opinion, to make sure it wasn't just me, that I wasn't losing my mind, and that this person is as much of a dolt as I think he is. And when we reached this point, my wife legitimately said, as a theory, are you dealing with a bot? Because they just keep on asking the same questions over and over again. But this person has an account on Facebook, so I think it's a real person. Anyways, we'll keep going. So I said, when he asked which stuff you mean looking for, I quote my initial message with Embiid, Jokic, Paolo, flawless championship tags, and I say, we already discussed this. Like, come on, man. And so he then gives me a Michael Jordan card here and says, has a price on it. I say, pass, not interested in MJ. And then that is the last picture that I'm going to show you, or screenshot I'm going to show you from my laptop. This next one is from my phone because it didn't show up on my laptop. And it's very important to show you the picture. You'll see why. Because literally his next message, more Michael Jordan cards. You can see here, I've kept the past not interested in MJ. And literally the next thing he shows is a Michael Jordan card and says, you might be interested in this. Really? What makes you think that, given that my last message says, pass, not interested in MJ? Seriously, is this real life? So that's the video. Let me know if you've ever dealt with this person in particular, because again, if you dealt with him, I feel like you would remember it based off of the type of messages I received. Or if you've had other weird, almost Twilight Zone interactions like this. Because at this point, I'm just amused what this guy's going to send me next. I would love to hear your comments on this one. I don't know what to make of this. Like, this guy is, I don't even know. But the fact that he had a typo here of you might be interested in this and misspelled this wrong suggests that he's not a bot. It's a real person who's just terrible at his job. Like, that's what my wife said. Like, when I showed him the MJ cards being offered to me right after I said not interested in MJ, she's like, oh, he's just really bad at his job. And I think that is an accurate statement. So that's the video. Would love to hear your comments. Are you amused, bemused, annoyed, frustrated watching this video? I don't know. All the emotions that I felt. Anyways, we sometimes on this channel preview the next video. The next time around, we're going to talk about gem rate data and why I believe some of that data is a biased sample. And that's not a knock on gem rate. Shout out to Ryan. It is what it is, and I will explain next time. Thank you, as always, for listening and watching. I will talk to you all soon. Cheers.